Okay, welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. I'm Nate, and if you watch my show, you're in my corner. Today's episode is another doubleheader. It's a post-fight for UFC 248, and then it's a pre-fight for UFC Fight Night Lee versus Oliveira, which hopefully will not get canceled like Bellator 241. Which, let's talk about the cancellation of Bellator 241 for a second. So that was a that was a late cancellation just hours before the event. Emmanuel Sanchez, he was pretty devastated by the whole ordeal and disappointed, but understandably so. But I feel like it is what it is. What can you do? But Sanchez and Weichel, they'll duke it out at some point, and I'll be looking forward to that fight because that's going to be a great fight at featherweight. And Pedro versus Pitbull, that's also going to be a great fight. Anyways, so don't worry, MMA fans. We'll get our MMAs, whether it be in an empty arena or at a UFC gym, the Apex. We're going to get our MMA action. Anyhow, I'm pretty much just shook up by this whole coronavirus thing because I want to enjoy my MMA, and not to sound too positive or uppity, but I feel pretty safe with this coronavirus thing. I think we have enough health experts on the case that we'll get this resolved, and maybe I'm a little bit too overly positive, but I feel like we'll make it through this ordeal, and I think together we'll figure this out. I know it sounds cheesy, but I feel like that's the case. But anyways, so back to what I was saying at the beginning of this episode. So this is a post-fight for 248 and then a pre-fight with predictions for UFC Fight Night Lee versus Oliveira. So I'll get to start off with the main event in UFC 248 for the middleweight title. I said on my pre-fight, it's Israel defending against Yoel Romero, and I predicted on my pre-fight that this would be a lackluster fight, and sure enough, I was right. And Israel did enough each round to basically win every round. A couple judges have 48-47. I don't know what fight they're watching. I had Israel winning at least 4 rounds, if not all 5 rounds. But anyhow, it is what it is. Israel did what he had to do to win, and he played a smart game. The game I would have played, or anyone, especially a well-trained fighter, would have played. I'm not saying I'm a well-trained fighter, but if I were, that's the game I would have played in this fight. And so Israel won fair and square. Then we get to the co-main event. So Israel wins unanimous decision. Then in the co-main event, we had a women's strawweight clash, which people are ranting and raving that this is one of the greatest fights of all time. And I think it's definitely, contender for one of the best fights of the year thus far in March of this year as of this recording. But I think it's one of the biggest robberies, and I'm going to show you guys right now because I got this on the screen. So here is Fight Metric, okay? Okay, so when you look at that, it shows that it was even on strikes first round, more strikes for Joanna in the second round, even on strikes round 3, even on strikes round 4, and then round 5, it was Joanna's round. So basically, you could say 3 rounds were a draw and 2 rounds were for Joanna, which would mean she's the winner. I mean, you got to go off strikes landed. Yeah, sure, there was a takedown landed, only one, but that takedown didn't do anything. And so I got to go with Joanna won this fight. I mean, she landed 21 more strikes, significant strikes total in the fight, but when you break it down per round, she won. She won the fight. I think Joanna got robbed, and it was a fairly big robbery. It was a close fight, but I think, edging it out, Joanna should have won at least, you know, unanimous decision, but barely on the scorecards. Anyhow, so I think we should see a rematch, if not immediate rematch, sometime in the near future. But yeah, Zhang Weili, or Weili Zhang, however you want to say it, she won, decision split. Yeah, I want to see a rematch. It's nothing, Weili did a good job. Joanna did a great job. But it is what it is. I blame the judges. You always got to blame the judges and stuff like this. Then in the lightweight division, we had Beneil Dariush versus Drakkar Klose, and KO punch round 2 win for Beneil. Great fight. Just amazing. Then in the welterweight division, we had Neil Magny versus Ling Jingliang, and Neil Magny won, decision unanimous. This was impressive fight for Neil Magny, and also after a long layoff, I believe it's been over a year, to get in the win column. Now he's back in the welterweight division, and I think he'll crack the top 15, get knee deep in the top 15 before you know it. I mean, he's been in top 15 before, and he'll do it again. And if he's not already, depending on what rankings you're going off of. Then in the welterweight division, kick off the main card, we had Alex Oliveira versus Max Griffin, and Alex Oliveira looked good. I thought at first Max Griffin got robbed, but then I double-checked the stats and saw that Alex Oliveira won this fight fair and square in a split decision win for Alex Oliveira. Fair fight. And yeah, when I checked the stats on the Joanna fight, I was like, okay, that's what you got to go off of. You got to go off stats because they're more fact-based. Anyhow, and props to Sean O'Malley, great performance on the prelims. So then now we're going to do a pre-fight for UFC Fight Night, Lee versus Oliveira. So we have a catch weight bout because Lee missed weight at 158.5 pounds, and I got to go with Charles Oliveira here. I think he either gets a knockout or he gets a submission, but I think he gets it done within 2 rounds on this fight. I think it being in Brazil, and even though there's not going to be a crowd, he's in Brazil, and he'll feel that energy in one way or another. I know it's going to sound cheesy, but anyways, then in the co-main event, we have a welterweight clash with Damian Maia versus Gilbert Burns. I think Damian Maia gets this to the ground at some point and gets a submission, and I'll say it's round 3 he gets it done. I think the first 2 rounds he's grappling with Gilbert Burns, but Gilbert Burns, talented Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner, and avoids submissions, but I think eventually he cracks. Damian Maia gets him to crack, and Damian Maia gets another submission win. Then in the lightweight division, we have Renato Moicano versus Damir Hadzovic, and I went back and forth on this one, but I'm going to go with Renato Moicano. I think he's hungry for that win. He needs a big win, and I think he gets it done. I'll say by submission, round 2. Then in the light heavyweight division, we have Johnny Walker versus Nikita Krylov, and I think Johnny Walker is hungry for a big win. I think he gets it done first round knockout here. But Nikita Krylov's tough, so it'll be a good fight. Then in lightweight division, we have Francisco Trinaldo versus John Makdessi. I'm going to go with Francisco Trinaldo on this one. I think even though he's up there in age, especially for a lightweight, I think he still has a lot of knockout power, and I still think he's just a warrior. And John Makdessi, skilled, tough, durable veteran in the UFC, had plenty of fights in the UFC. Same thing with Francisco, but I just think Francisco has a good solid ground game, takedown defense, and heavy hands to get this job done. And John Makdessi's best chance is using his kickboxing and cardio, but I think the heavy shots of Francisco Trinaldo get it done, and I see Francisco edging out a decision win here. 29, 28, I could see John McDessie winning a round. So there you have it. There's my predictions on this card. And stay tuned for my post-fight, and probably cover the Woodley-Edwards fight maybe in that same episode for pre-fight. Who knows? We'll see. But until then, I hope we're all safe from coronavirus. Everyone watching, and the rest of the world as well. But anyways, until then, I will see you.